Hey guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to a video about my winter TBR. I went through on Goodreads. I put some priorities on here. I'm definitely not going to read all these books, but I thought I'd tell you what I'm going to try to read this winter. Okay, I'm kind of going to ignore everything that I just put on my TBR. I mean, that's not true, but I did go upstairs just to look through my physical shelves as well. I did put some of my physical books on this TBR on Goodreads, but I did find 3 books that I'm going to definitely read, which I'm not going to talk about this series again because I talk about it literally all the time. You're sick of me hearing about the Troy game series, but I'm already a decent chunk into the first book, so I'm going to finish it and maybe even continue with books 2, 3, and 4 at some point. I'm reading that one physically though and not on audio, so it's going to take me a long time. Then I randomly found 2 other books that have not remotely been on my radar for years, and suddenly I'm like, you know what, I might read these. I'm a mood reader, I've realized, for sure, which is bad because then it's like I ignore everything I thought I was gonna plan to read on my TBR and read other stuff. But this book is so pretty. I got it used for, I don't know, like literally $10 or something, and it's this huge big hardcover. Upon a Burning Throne, though, it's the Burnt Empire Saga Book 1 by this Ashok K. Baker. Yeah, I think it's based on like Indian mythology or something. I don't know. It sounds really epic. It's like the emperor has died and now they're trying to figure out who's going to inherit the throne. It sounds very, I don't know. I feel like that's a common theme in stories. It says it's a sweeping epic with gods, demigods, strange powers, seers, and just plain humans that all struggle for power and to make sense of their lives and fate in a world where one is never sure anything is either certain or what it appears to be. It's just really, really long. So I would have to read this physically. I can't read high epic fantasy on audio. I was already scared of this book though, because as soon as I opened it, here's all the characters and it's like, here's so-and-so, they're already deceased. I see this and I see all these names and I'm like, it's a lot of work. I think I'm getting too lazy to read fantasy. That's the problem. The other book is The Labyrinth of Dreaming Books, which I loved the City of Dreaming Books, and this is the sequel. City of Dreaming Books is it's in my top 10. It's in my top 10 favorite books of all time ever. And I hear that this one is not as good, but I hear it's kind of a retelling almost of the first book. If you like books about books, you would love the City of Dreaming Books. I recommend it all the time. It is weird. It is really freaking weird. Just know that going into it. But it's good. Like the main character is literally a dinosaur, but I just ignore that part of it. As you can see, I guess, I don't know if it's the same main character in this one or not. I'm not really sure. Is it Optimus Yarn Spinner again? Yeah. So it's been years, I guess, since the first book. I don't know, but there's a city called Book Home, and like there's literally everything about its books, and like there's monsters that are like books that eat things and stuff that come to life. And anyway, the first one, he goes into this like labyrinth under the city, and apparently, well, this one's called The Labyrinth of Dreaming Books, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen in this one, but I love the first one so much. And honestly, the first one is what got me back into reading. I had this like massive pause on reading for a very, very long time, for years. And when I read City of Dreaming Books again, I'd reread it years. I mean, I'm talking like 10 plus years ago, probably 11, 12 years ago. And I was like, wow, this reading is so good again. So I do need to read that because clearly I love the first one. Okay, let's go back to Goodreads. Goodreads says that I need to read, here you go, I need to read 3 Shattered Souls because I am currently reading oh my gosh, I can't remember which one's which. I read 5 Broken Blades because I bought a pretty copy of it, which is it even down here? I don't know. I don't know where it's at. It must be upstairs. I read 5 Broken Blades. Then right now I'm reading 4 Ruined Realms. Is that what it's called? Oh my gosh, I'm literally in the middle of the audiobook. I'm like exactly halfway done with the audiobook, and I'm just going to go right into 3 Shattered Souls, I think, next, just to be done. It seems like it would be counting down 5, 4, 3, and that there should be a book that's a 2 and a 1, but I'm pretty sure I've heard it's just a trilogy, and that book 3 is the last one, the one called 3 Shattered Souls. It's not good. Like, they're not good. They're really, like, not well written, but they're fun. Just fun fantasy that's not super complex and intricate, so I can literally listen to the audiobook while I'm getting ready and stuff. I don't have to worry about all kinds of names and places and all that sort of stuff. It's just really simple. It's like simple fantasy is how I would describe that series. Then I'm going to read Mate, which is Bride number 2. I read Bride and gave it 4 stars like last month. Loved it. Could not believe how much I liked this book. I want to say that I heard it's about a different character. Let me look. I'm reading about it right now. Oh, it's about Serena. What? I don't care about Serena. Oh, boo. Okay. Well, interestingly enough, then it's not really an exact sequel. I mean, I'm sure you have to have read book 1 to kind of get what's going on, because Serena is a character in book 1, but the main character was different in book 1. And I really liked Bride, but I did wonder how they were going to have a sequel because they get together in book 1, like spoiler alert. So I was like, what are they going to do in book 2? And I hate it when characters are together. Once characters are together, I don't want to read the series anymore. It was the same with Veronica Speedwell series. It's the same with, what's it called? You know, the Iron Flame series, you know, Onyx Storm. I literally can't think of the first book in the series that was so popular. Anyway, the dragon, you know, fantasies. I could not finish Iron Flame because the characters were already together and then they were just trying to make drama for drama's sake and it was stupid. Anyway, but Mate at least does follow different characters. So I guess I'll give it a try because I liked, I'd never read a book by Ali Hazelwood before, but I did really like it. Now, will I like anything else she writes that's not fantasy? Probably not. Sorry, my computer makes weird noises. I thought about reading this little book called The House Trap. It's a middle grade and it just sounds fun. I found this on JD Ray Reed's channel. She talks about it. I honestly have no idea what it's about except, I don't know, it's called The House Trap and that sounds really fun. Whimsical. Yeah, it's middle grade fantasy. So she has to escape this house. They must solve the puzzle and the century-old mystery of a girl who disappeared. Ooh, they run off into a forbidden woods where children disappear. And they find a mysterious mansion. Inside, time has frozen in the 1930s, and an invitation promises a devious party game. Okay, so there could be ghosts. I'm not really sure. I don't know. It sounds cool. It's middle grade. I think I found the audiobook already or the ebook or something, and so I'm totally going to read that. Then 100%, no matter what, I'm going to read 12 Months by Jim Butcher the day it comes out. Like, I will drop everything no matter what I'm reading, and I will be reading 12 Months by Jim Butcher. So, you've probably seen before my shelf back here of, you know, Jim Butcher books, all my Dresden Files. I will say, I've mentioned this before too, but the last 2 books in the series, books 16 and 17, Peace Talks and Battleground, were not good. I've only read them 1 time each. I've read all the other ones like 5 or 6 times because it's one of my favorite series of all time ever. But the last 2 were not good. And I kind of almost pretend like they don't exist. And I'm hoping 12 Months will get back to our regularly formatted books because these were kind of supposed to be 1 book, but they had to be split up and it just didn't work the way that they had to do it. And I would rather have just had 1 giant book, but also I thought the plot was really stupid. I thought it went kind of off the rails and like it just didn't make any sense. And so like a major character died at the end or in the middle of Battleground. So it's going to be a lot of like dealing with that, I think. Just Harry, the main character, Harry Dresden is in just sort of a bad situation, I think, in 12 Months. And there he has 12 months to be able to do something, basically. And I think I'm thinking it's going to be a return to form because books 14 and 15 were 2 of my absolute favorites in the series. So I'm hoping it'll be closer to those 2 and not the last 2. I also thought about reading a fun romance book for Christmas because I do have a Christmas romance that I always like to read. And that's In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren. And I've only read this book 1 time. Or no, 2 times. I've read it 2 times. But I don't really want to read it again. And I didn't really need it. It didn't have to be a Christmas romance, but just something fun. And I decided on this book called The Love of My Afterlife. He dies, but then, I mean, I'm just making this up. What I remember from somebody else's synopsis is like she dies and she goes to some afterlife. And if she helps do something with like a guy in the real world or something, then she can come back to life. So I'm assuming she falls in love with the guy and then she comes back to life and is with him. Like, that's it. But I heard it's like funny, I think, and quirky and fun. So it's got a 4.05 stars on Goodreads. So it's pretty good. Okay, I'm also going to try A Far Better Thing by H.G. Perry because this sounds very wintry. I don't know why, it just does, because I guess it's serious. It's supposedly a fantasy kind of retelling. I don't know about retelling, but just a fantasy book that is similar to A Tale of Two Cities. I loved A Tale of Two Cities when I read it in high school. I guess I was meant to be an English teacher because I loved it as a sophomore. Literally, I was in 10th grade and was loving classics. But it says it's also a combination of A Tale of Two Cities and Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I loved Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And I loved A Tale of Two Cities. And that this is a standalone portal fantasy. A heart-rending fantasy of fairy revenge set during the French Revolution. I feared this was the best of times. I hope it could not get any worse. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't even know like anything about it. Honestly, I'm not gonna read anything about it except that it's basically A Tale of Two Cities with fairies in it. I don't know. That sounds so amazing. I'm 100% gonna read that. Then books I always have on my radar. I don't even want to go through them all again. Shadow of the Torturer, Titus Groan. I've had those on my TBR forever. because I read a similar book, which was Perdido Street Station, and I love Perdido Street Station so much. It was my favorite book of the year, and I'm trying to find similar books. And Titus Grown and Shadow of the Torturer, which is the first in the Book of the New Sun series. So I'm going to try those two because everybody says they're similar. I would also like to read, I'm already looking at some of these choices. I had Lightfall by Ed Crocker on there, but it's like, you know what? I'm taking that off. I'm not going to read that. I also have this weird book on there called Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore because the sequel to it sounded good. I have no idea what it's about, but it's a book about books, so maybe I'll read it. I don't know. That's a possibility. I also have Uprooted on the list as a possibility because I have it on there every year. I feel like it's very wintry because it's set in like a forest and it's like a fairy tale, so I don't know, it gives me winter vibes. I've had the audiobook on my phone for 2 years now, I think, and I started it one time on a plane and I liked it, but I'm like, why am I not finishing this book? Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson is on the list. I said, you know, we know all my past with Brandon Sanderson. I'm not a huge fan of most of his books, but I did really, really like the other book, Trust of the Emerald Sea, which has the same like funny character who narrates. I've heard the same character narrates Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, so I don't even know what it's about, but knowing that, what's his name, Hoyd or something, I guess he's a character in the other Cosmere books, knowing that he is the narrator of this one has convinced me to read it no matter what, because I absolutely loved his narration voice in Trust of the Emerald Sea because it was really funny. And then All In, which is the Naturals book 3. I have read the first 2 Naturals books forever ago, and they're kind of like mystery, you know, thriller, young adult books, and I feel like I should be reading them at Halloween time, but I have got this on this kick lately of finishing series. I want to finish all the series I'm in the middle of if I do plan on finishing them. And so I need to read books 2 and 3 in the Natural series just to be done. And I loved books 1 and 2 were amazing. I gave them like 4.5 stars. So I have high hopes. I need to just do it. I also have The Will of the Many on my list because, oh my gosh, I did not realize this. It has a 4.6 on Goodreads. That's crazy. I like never see a book. Is that like the highest rated book I own on here? Probably I have on my list. That's crazy. 4.6 for The Will of the Many by James Islington, however you say it. Anyway, this book is fantasy and I hear nothing but good things about it. Somehow I don't know, it's like a pyramid scheme thing going on and there's like different levels. I don't know. It's just this fantasy, dark academia, science fiction, mystery. Like what? Yeah, there's some sort of hierarchy system. I don't want to know anything about it going into it because I feel like the less I know, the better. I know I'm going to read this book. It was a nominee for the Reader's Choice Awards. I'm surprised it didn't win. And the sequel just came out, The Strength of the Few, which everybody's talking about. And I think a lot of people are saying it's not as good as the first one, but pretty much everybody I know on BookTube who read The Will of the Many liked it a lot. So I am going to read that one. Some other books on my radar. This Spells Love, which is another silly fantasy, or not fantasy, silly romance. It does say it's a romance fantasy though, but I've had this on my TBR for a while. I think she's like a witch or something. I don't know. There's a spell. Well, obviously it's called The Spells Love. I don't know. That one may not be for me. Maybe I'll just do the Love of My Afterlife one because it's funny. So that one probably doesn't take itself as seriously, which is kind of what I want. So I had 3 more on the list, which is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. And I don't know if this is supposed to be a book more read at Halloween. I want to say there's a little dark academia vibes. Is it? It's fiction, mystery. It does say gothic. The gothic part of it makes me want to wait until next Halloween time when I would be reading more like gothic stuff. So I don't think I'll read it. But I do own this one physically. I think I might take it off the list because there's way more wintry ones. I love to read seasonally appropriate books. I talk about Hyperion all the time. I own that one as well. I might read it. We'll see. It's got such great reviews. Maybe if I want a sci-fi, because I don't think any of these other ones I mentioned are really like straightforward sci-fi. They're definitely more fantasy, pretty much all fantasy it looks like, and mystery, like the one mystery. Wow, winter is a lot of fantasy for me. That's when I definitely read fantasy the most. I feel like fall is all like the mystery, thrillers, horror. Summer and spring, I do like to read like lighter, funner books, I guess, more fun books. And then in the wintertime, yeah, fantasy, big, epic, thick, chunky fantasy, like apparently, maybe that's why this one's calling to me. So maybe Hyperion. And then the last one on my radar is Tilly and the Book Wanderers. It is also a middle grade, and it has been on my list for a long time. It's from a series called Pages & Co. I believe it's the authors from like England or somewhere in Europe or something. And so I remember I had trouble finding it here. Like, I'm not sure. I guess I'll have to just try for the audiobook because I don't think I can find the physical book like in my library or anything. It looks like there are okay, classic children's characters are appearing at her like grandparents' bookshop, including Anne of Green Gables and Alice in Wonderland, that have to help her. She's determined to solve a mystery of what happened to her mother all those years ago, so she bravely steps into the unknown, unsure of what adventure lies ahead and what dangers she may face. So yeah, the main character is 11 years old. It's a magical adventure to delight the imagination, a curl up on the sofa debut from a uniquely talented author. Curl up on the sofa sounds very wintry, very cozy, so I think I will read that one as well. Okay, so that gives me 17 books on this TBR, and then the 2 I had on the floor here, so that gives me 19 books. Winter is only like 3 months long. For me, I consider December, January, February as winter. Yeah, like it's more that I go by the meteorological winter and not the actual like winter starts at the solstice thing. I plan on reading probably not 19 books in 3 months, but these are just options and I can always carry them over to different seasons. In fact, I need to take out the 13th tale probably. So that gives me, okay, 18 books in 3 months. That's 6 books a month. I don't think I'm going to read 6 books a month, but you never know. All right, well, I better go get to reading. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you think I should prioritize any of these books. Like, which ones do I really, really need to read if you've read any of them and you think that they're really good. So I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.